when I bought the SLK, there was a huge amount of rust on it. There were big holes in the front wings you could put your hand through. There were holes behind the rear bumper, and I patched them. And so it's been quite a lot of work. But also there was this patch here under the handle, which is rusty. Now I've covered it with a rust preventative paint just to stop it spreading. But I need to sort that out properly. So I'm going to take off the handle, take off the number plate, scrape it back to bare metal, and prepare it and spray it, and just patch it in. I'm just going to spray the area locally and blend it, because I don't want to do the whole boot lid, because the boot's actually in fairly good condition. So let's start with stripping it back. Okay, there's a panel inside which needs to be taken off. It's this here. These will come out, the centre needs to be pulled out, and then they'll come free. Something under the middle, just to lever it up. And the centre core comes out, now it should pull out. Should then just about, which it does. Now we can see the rear brake light, which I'm going to leave in. The locking mechanism, which I need to remove, and there's some fixings as well for the outside components, so I'll take those out. The lock actually has fixings either side here, and obviously there are these lights as well that needs to come out. So I'll undo all of those things and take them away. Wow, look at that. Someone has made a right old mess when they've worked on this before doing the number plate. It's actually fitted with self-tappers currently, which isn't great, but these holes, crikey, looks like some kind of American plate mounting. Right, I put some WD-40 on this screw earlier because it was very, very stiff. It's not coming out, so I'm going to try it again now. It's had time to soak in. The fixings are very corroded. There's a lot of white deposits on there where it's I think it's a aluminium inset thing there that it goes into. There's another one there. 3 of them were okay, but this one was turning, and it was because it was corroded in there. It took a lot to free it, so I put a drop of grease on that before it goes back in, I think. Otherwise it'll never come out again. Right, so I just pop off these plugs, remembering that the insulated one goes towards the centre of the boot. The brown ones are an earth, so it doesn't matter if they touch bare metal. It does matter if those do, but only if the lights are on. This boot. Now we need the lockout next to get to this edge. So we're going to take out these 2 fixings and see if I can drop it in that way. there's a small lever arm here, which I've just pulled out, and you can see in the case of mine there's a piece of aquarium hose that joins the original pneumatic airline, which has just fallen off. I think I may have put that there when I was trying to work out what was going on with the pneumatic system. Anyway, that's now out, and you can see there is rust on the inner edge of this and around the lock hole there, and there's obviously the rust on the outer edge too. So next job is to try and clean it up. Decided that I'm going to actually remove the other components out of here, just so that they're not in the way when I'm trying to clean this edge. So to do that, there's obviously this light which potentially can stay in there, but the cables are in the way, so I'm just disconnect the light. I've pulled that out, and this plastic component I'm keen to pull off. I'm not sure if it's attached. The wiring loom comes in at the end, so I'm hoping it can just hang if I can get the thing to just come free. Not quite sure how you do. There's fixings. Okay, the fixing here, which means there's probably another one over here. Torx. Let's deal with that. Good. Now we can see in there nice and clearly. What I'm going to do is get some goggles and a wire brush in an angle grinder and give it a quick whiz and clear all the rust off. Just a small note of caution: if you've taken the lock out and there's no bar, and you've taken away the means of unlocking this, and you then close the boot, you can't open it. So do that, and it can't lock. Right, I'm going to clean up outside first. So let's just pop you down here. What I'm going to do, just get a wet rag and clean this off. Got spiders around today. Okay, so this is now clean. You can see that there's a bit of rust bubbling around this fixing. These are obviously clear of paint and bulging. It's not a very good situation. I'm reluctant to do much to it. You know, if I start moving things or tweaking things, it could cause more problems. It did look okay with the number plate on there, so I'm just going to leave it and overspray it. But what I'm going to do is clean up the rust here and on here and on here. And I know that when I come back, I'm gonna mask it just beyond, but it's still underneath where the lines are. Most of it, where it stops, is going to be underneath the number plate. That's how I'm going to try and work this. So I need to avoid on this going outside where the number plate is, and this area try and limit it as much as I can. It is spreading into this top bit here, so I'm going to need to get close to this line where the boot trim was. So, okay, now I'm going to use the angle grinder. It's a very dangerous tool, not quite as dangerous as Donald Trump or Putin, but still could kill you or take your eyes out. Goggles are very important, as are gloves. Please wear gloves and goggles when you're using an angle grinder, whether it's got a brush or a grinding wheel in it. They're chuffing dangerous. And we get through. So very slowly and carefully I'm going to take back all of this rust. I'll stick you on time lapse so that you get a quick view. Okay, so this is obviously all now bare metal, which is great because there's no rust. This unfortunately there is rust underneath this, and this is the one that just turned. The others didn't. These are sort of aluminium, and I think they're pressed in. And I'm wondering whether I should be removing this and using a standard nut on the back instead, because it's just turning, and because there's rust underneath it. I can't clean up behind it when it's there, and I don't really know how it's installed. I could try and pry it away, but I'm not sure I'm ever going to be able to refit it. But I'm assuming it's like these, where it went through as a hex. But I don't know. I suppose it's going to come out. I think these have been pried out. You can see why they made such a bloody mess. Maybe it was an American boot. Just don't know. But I could just grind it off, of course. Yes, it looks like it's kind of spread on the back where the screw has pulled it through, and being aluminium, of course, it just stretched a bit. I may be able to squash it the other side using some flat pliers. I'll have a go. Okay, that is what came out. You can see that it had bulged around this area, and it's obviously gone round. I think they're supposed to stay hexagonal when when they're in the hexagonal hole. That hole is this one here, and yeah, I may be able to do something to get rid of that groove and reuse it. But either way, it needs to be greased. This is the one that's stuck. So anyway, it's out. I can do the rust removal. Just fantastic. Okay, so that's now done in all places where I need to outside. If I get the number plate and offer it back up to where it was, that's the hole over there. You'll find this is covering the areas here. It is close at this point here. There's a bit of blistering on there, so this might actually end up coming below, which then makes you wonder whether you should tape to the line and spray this whole area inside, which may be better. I can take masking tape to that edge, because of the change in the edge, you won't really notice where the paint is. Perhaps I'll do it that way. There are other chips and things that perhaps could do with being done on this boot, but it's not perfect, but it's a pretty good boot. Anyway, let's Just do a bit more on there, and then I'll go inside with it and do the inside of this handle, because inside here is rusty too. Okay, so we've now done some grinding work around there to take off the rust. There's a bit of a notch on there now, which you can see outside as well. This area is obviously very thin, so I think what I'm going to have to do is get some body filler and build that up a little bit, and then sand it down, because it's rusted away and it's a bit thin now. But that's okay, we can do that. We'll just mix them up. Okay, this is Isopon Ultimate, which is a fairly good all-rounder body filler. I'm just gonna gently put this on here. What I'm trying to do is minimize the sanding I'm going to have to do with this. By getting it even flat. And I think as good as it's gonna get. So we go with that. And while that's going off, and obviously I'm going to sand it and do it again, I'm going to do the masking. Okay, so next job is to sand down the filler, see if I can get it as smooth as possible. I've worked through various different grits of paper, starting on a sort of 120 grit. I'm going to work through finer papers now to get it very, very smooth. Okay, everything's masked off. Well, I think it is. It's worth being quite meticulous about this. If paint goes where you don't want it, then it's obviously a bugger. I'm going to put a high build primer on this, a few coats of it, and then I'm going to just peel back some of the masking and give it a light sand and remask it a bit further out, and then respray just to blend the edges. So, it says 2 minutes between coats. Coat number 2. Breezy out here. And coat number 3. Now this says that it will be dust-free dry in 5 minutes and through cured 10 minutes at 20 degrees C. It's actually nearer 30 degrees out here today, so it's going to be pretty dry pretty quick. Okay, so I've just revealed the edge of the spray area, because what I want to do now is take some fine steel wool and just take the roughness off there. So it needs to be smooth, and I need to blend the edges so that when the top coat goes on, it goes on nice and smooth. So I'm just going to take a section of this wire wool and then I'm going to start very carefully working away at it. And you can feel it as you do it, that the roughness disappears. I've got to be very careful that I don't go into the areas where I don't want to scratch it, because I'm going to limit where I spray, obviously within the hidden areas and so forth. So back to the time lapse. Okay, so I've wire wool, and this is all very smooth now. Obviously most of it's going to be hidden except for these places where it blends across. I'm going to remask it now so that the top coat is just outside the line that I've defined before, and we'll get the top coat going. Okay, remask ready to go. There's the top coat, and it says 5 to 10 minutes drying between coats, so it's a little bit longer on this one. Having to get closer than I would like because of the wind. That's okay. So leave it 5 minutes. Coat number 2. Okay, coat number 3. I'm hoping this is the last coat. So 25 minutes to dry, and then we can look at putting a lacquer coat on it. I'm going to take the masking edge off where I need it to blend across. It's this point here and this point here, and I'm just going to set it a little bit further back so that the lacquer actually overlaps slightly, and hopefully that will make it blend better when I come to use my machine on it. That. It's got an edge on there. I could get a bit of wire wool on there as well. I'll just take it back a bit and try and blend it a bit. Bit of white spirit there. Okay, the lacquer. It says 10 minutes between coats on this. Okay, more lacquer. Okay, more lacquer. What I'm also going to do is spray inside this. I've got some black hammerite paint that'll prevent rust and it match in with the black. So I'm going to do that while this is all setting hard. Okay, I've some smooth hammerite. I'm just going to spray it on lightly in here. No such thing as lightly with hammerite. Just checking outside, it's not come through, it's not oversprayed at all, which is wonderful. And I'll leave this to go off and then come back and do another one. Okay, coat number 2. And now take off all the masking from the outside. Okay, this is a nice little warning to you. It's actually peeled the edge off where I was taking that masking off, and I was a bit hurried about it. You do need to be careful. This will be hidden, so it doesn't really matter, but leaving it longer to set is obviously really important. And I could have left it a bit longer. So, just a bit of a white spirit there on the cloth. Just a bit of a clean up before I put all this back together. I think this has had a bit of a respray in the past, actually. There we go. Good. So these I can blend out with the polish, but I'm not going to do that until it's really set and really hard. So now I'll pop all this back together again. I'm just wondering if I might resurrect this little fixing. It means sort of beating it to so that the groove around the top is gone. I should be able to trap it in the vise here and then gradually sort of work it down, but I'm conscious that I might lose the thread, so I do need something in the thread, and I need something to try and beat it down. So let's come up with all that. Okay. Oop. A lot of oil. A bit of oil in there to try and break down the corrosion. That's quite stiff. Assuming it's a metric thread like the rest of the car. There was a lot of corrosion in there though. I guess that's bottoming out. I was worried that if I started squashing this it would crush the whole thing because it's lightweight aluminium. Not sure the best way to get rid of this. It may be that I beat it down from above. So all I'm doing is sort of asking it to sort of reshape really, which is getting rid of that groove around there. It's just closing up that gap so that when it's in the hole, as long as it moves freely enough, it won't twist it and cause the problem again. Doing this, of course, does make it less likely to be able to turn, but it is only aluminium, and I've got some oil in there now, so it seems pretty happy. I could take the bolt out and just beat the top, but there's a risk with that. It would close up the hole and distort it, and I don't want to do that really. Just kind of asking it to morph into a slightly different shape. It's a bit like lead beating, I suppose. I think that'll do. Cool. Okay, so my freshly beaten fixing hopefully will now sit in this hole and do the job. I'll put you back on time lapse and I'll refit everything again. So there we go. That is the finished job. That took about 5 hours end to end. It's a hot day, so it's easier for the paint to go off, but it's better to leave a longer period. Obviously, I need to polish it to try and get that shine back to that new paintwork. It's challenging to actually match paintwork on 25-year-old cars, especially when in metallic paint as well. So it's his best endeavours using aerosol cans, and it will have stopped the rust in its tracks, which is what this was all about. I hope it was helpful. If it was, then give it a like, put some comments in the chat if you've got any questions. Happy to answer them, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and have a great day. Bye.